Guys, Real Madrid squad have a market value of 1.4 billion, while Atletico Madrid squad have a market value of 700 million. On paper, we should be dominating Atletico Madrid, but in reality, they have just beat us 5-2. In this video, I want to summarize the game and I want to give you 5 points that I picked up in this game. Let's get started. The first one is going to be the starting lineup and bringing Bellingham in. So we brought Bellingham in and then we took Antonio out. So we completely changed formation from the team that we have been playing and that has been performing well and that has been winning these games, right? So we went from our dynamic 4-3-3 to now another dynamic 4-4-2, right? So in this 4-4-2, you had Vini and Mbappe up front, and then you also had like Vini also going to the left flank as well. Then you had Bellingham, left midfield coming in centrally. Then you had Güler also on the right midfield as well, right? So we accommodated Bellingham by bringing him into the team with having our two pivots, Tchouaméni and Valverde. But the thing is, we're having Bellingham in a position where still it's not his best, right? Because you really do want Bellingham in that central role. And then also you have Güler now pushed out onto the right flank, even though he was still coming in centrally. And then you have Carvajal a little bit on the right side as well. So I feel like this formation did not really help Bellingham, and it did not help Güler, because we've seen in the past, that Güler is not good when he is out on that right flank. Yes, the game against Levante, he was able to give us a beautiful assist on that right flank, but he is not as effective in that right flank position. You actually want him more centrally. So if you're going to play Güler, you need to play him as an attacking midfielder just behind Mbappe. And we've seen that connection of Mbappe and Güler, them having a really good link-up play, right? So we still saw that, even though Güler was on the right side, right? So we still saw that from Güler, but he's a little bit more out of the game, right? And then now you have Bellingham more like in this free kind of role, but really in terms of attacking threats, didn't really add anything, right? So I think maybe, because now we lost like 5-2, starting with Güler probably wasn't the best thing. Starting with Bellingham probably wasn't the best thing. You probably wanted to have Bellingham for the second half, right? Because in the previous 2 games, he hasn't played that many minutes, right? When he came on, he still like looked fit and energetic and everything, but he still didn't play that many minutes. So to start with him against such a tough opponent with Atletico Madrid, maybe was a bit too much, right? Because in that first half, we were struggling quite a lot. Defensively we're struggling, midfield we're struggling, and our forward line wasn't really offering much from us. And that goal the first goal we got really came from a piece of magic from Mbappe and Güler, right? But in terms of the team dynamics, they weren't really that good. When we scored the goal, yes, then we started to play well a little bit, control the game a lot more, but then Atletico came back with that second goal, right? Making it 2-2. So I think going away from what has been working for us, the 4-3-3, maybe wasn't the best thing for this game, but everything's better in hindsight. But anyway, as it turned out, this formation, I feel like defensively we weren't good. Midfield, we didn't control the match at all, and up front we weren't a threat. Atletico Madrid had a lot more better chances. And so I think it's going to be interesting now what Alonso is going to do in the next games, right? Because you do have to fit in, Bellingham, because he is one of our best players. So it's gonna be quite interesting to see how he fits him in, and who's gonna lose out. Is it gonna be Antonio? Is it gonna be Güler, or is it gonna be somebody else, right? So I'll come on this point a little bit later on. And then now going into our second point. The second point is actually going to be Atletico Madrid, because I was really impressed with Atletico Madrid this game. I think they really did dominate us, like in all ways. There was in terms of crossing, they really exposed us because we weren't able to stop the crosses from coming in, whether it was on the right flank with Carvajal and Güler. and also Valverde helping out as well in that right side, or whether it was on the left side where they actually attacked most, was on that left side with Carreras and Bellingham, or Carreras and Vini. And Carreras, yeah, wasn't really getting that much help from either Bellingham or Vini on that left flank, and you really saw Carreras struggling a lot. I think, yeah, this is probably was his poorest game, his only really poor game from Madrid so far, because yeah, there was a chance that I believe Sorla had that Carreras played him onside. And then there was a misplaced pass that put in, I think, I can't remember which Atletico Madrid player, but a misplaced pass from Carreras that put us in danger and everything. And yeah, some sloppy tackles and whatnot. So yeah, Atletico Madrid were able to really hurt us when it came to our flanks, because we weren't able to stop the ball from coming in. And then now when the ball was in, I feel like Militao, I feel like Hausen, whether it was Tchouaméni, weren't really commanding in our 6-yard box or in our 18-yard box. So we were really exposed. Like every single time Atletico Madrid were crossing the ball in, it was a danger. You know, they were going in, they were putting in men, and there are a lot of numbers in our box, and everything was a threat, you know. And if it wasn't from the flanks, it was either from like quick transitions that they were hurting us. And there was times, for example, when we initiated the press with Valverde and Tchouaméni, but Atletico Madrid were quick to actually loop the ball over our press and then over our defense as well. And yeah, that chance from Sorla, and then also later on another chance came as well. So really on all fronts, Atletico Madrid were better, and they were really prepared for this game, right? So I feel like our pressing today wasn't as effective just because we didn't press as much, but I think because when we did try to press, Atletico Madrid were looping that ball over our defense, and it was giving them quite a lot of joy, right? So we just really have any answers to go against Atletico today. So well done to them. Yeah, Alvarez put in a great performance. I thought Guillermo Simeone also played amazing as well, putting Carreras under a lot of threats. And yeah, overall Atletico were better, hands down. And then now going into the third point. The third point is going to be Güler and Ceballos. So right now, like, yeah, with, for example, Bellingham starting, us starting in this 4-4-2, and then having Valverde and Tchouaméni in our midfield. And then later on, we made some changes. We then had Camavinga in there. It was Camavinga and Valverde, I believe it was. There was a few changes. But in our midfield, at that point, later on, yeah, Güler was out and everything. But in that point, I think we all know it. Like, in terms of creative play, you know, it really is Güler and and Ceballos, who can actually really help us a lot to break down teams, right? Whether it's Ceballos building up from the back and helping us also when we're in that forward position to control the ball, or whether it's Güler finding that pass, you know, for Mbappe or Vini or whoever it is. They are really our two creative players who can break down teams, right? And when they're off the pitch, yeah, when Güler came off, I was like, yeah, and we're putting on strikers, you know. We put on Rodrigo. He came on, did some nice plays here and there, more than Vini did the whole game. And then we put on Gonzalo Garcia, which, yeah, once again was nice to bring on Gonzalo Garcia, because we actually had a striker in the box now who was actually threatening the Atletico Madrid defenders. Mbappe didn't want to be in the box today, like, whatsoever. But yeah, without those two, like, it's really sad to see, because it just seems like our midfielders cannot break down teams. So when Atletico Madrid, it was 4-2 at the time, and Madrid are trying to get that goal, you know, to come back into the game, but there's just no creative source. There's no creative source whatsoever. So regardless of how many forwards we have on, like, there's nobody to actually create the passes for them, right? So I think that's one thing that we're really missing out on, and I feel that Ceballos should have come on in the second half. It didn't have to be like straight on at the beginning of the second half, but yeah, around the 60 minute mark, yeah, or even earlier really. But I feel Ceballos needed to come on in this game because he was the only one who was going to help us to control this game, right? Camavinga came on. And he also did some nice plays here and there, but Atletico Madrid were so ferocious and they were able to actually stop him from turning, really, right? So he found it really hard, right? So I just feel like if we had Ceballos on there and for example maybe Camavinga, then we could have controlled the game a little bit more because really our midfield was dead. The whole game, it was completely dead, you know. Even though in the first half, I do believe that Valverde had a good game defensively. Second half, I think we just struggled overall as a team, right? But our midfield in this match, I think, was really highlighted. The levels it needs to go up because I really didn't see anything from our midfielders that played today. And now also Goulet, you know. So yeah, in the last video, I spoke about Goulet, how yeah he in the good things that Madrid do, he's involved. In the bad things Madrid do, he's involved, and we saw that with the beautiful pass he had for Mbappe. You know, it was such a beautiful play between Mbappe and Goulet for that first goal. And then for his own goal, some really nice play from Vini, you know, a nice cut back, and then a ball to Goulet. And that ball that Vini gave him was nice, but it was also bouncing, so it wasn't an easy chance. But Goulet finished it off nicely, you know, and we're seeing that quite a lot, you know, where Goulet just is in the box, away from defenders. He knows how to be in the right position, getting away from defenders and then receiving the ball, and then amazing goal coming in. He makes it look easy, but the positioning and the reading of the game in those positions was super nice. But he also did make the mistake, you know, for the third goal. So this is the frustration a little bit now with Goulet, his physicality, his fitness, and his awareness, right? So he was back helping to defend, and yeah, like when the ball came in, he didn't see the player kicking the ball in, because he was running back, he was facing away from the ball, and then eventually he turned around and then he saw the ball, and then but he had no awareness of the players around him, and then he decides just to instinctively, you know, kick the ball, right? So it was a high ball, high boot. So yeah, it's a penalty, you know. You don't always see it given, but it's a penalty. And yeah, those are sort of mistakes that you just cannot be making, right? So far, yeah, he's cost us now 2 goals, you know, but in fairness, I've literally seen it. Like in all the goals that we have scored for Madrid, or let's say majority of goals Madrid have scored this season, Mbappe has been involved because he scored majority of the goals. But then Goulet has been involved, you know, in that. So that's the creative aspect that we miss when we don't have Goulet. So Goulet is adding so many goals, but he is going to give you also these mistakes, right? And yeah, I think we just have to believe in Goulet for this season and see if the investment pays off in by the end of the year. But yeah, his lack of physicality, lack of fitness, and his awareness is costing the team. And these silly mistakes really shouldn't be happening, right? At this level. But yeah, so really like, yeah, Goulet and Ceballos, when it comes to breaking down teams and being creative and controlling the game, they're actually really quite pivotal in that midfield position. Yeah, moving on to the 4th point. It's actually going to coincide with, yeah, Bellingham, who I spoke about in the beginning. And then also, yeah, Goulet and Ceballos is now going to be actually Valverde. So, Valverde, this season has been his poorest season in a Real Madrid t-shirt. And I am glad that people are finally seeing it, you know, because I thought I was the only one, you know. He has really had a poor season every single game. I don't know why, because in the Club World Cup, he played well, and I liked the new position he was in. He was playing a more forward role, more box to box midfielder, and for whatever reason, that's completely gone. Like so many things we did in the Club World Cup, are just completely gone. You know, our box to box midfielder, Valverde is gone because now he's just back in his anchor position where he has to stay, and he doesn't help out with the attack, right? But even defensively, he's been so poor. Bad tackles, lack of awareness, like that's all been there, right? But in this game, I think in the first half, he made some very important clearances and he was reading the game quite well. So I think the first half he had quite a good game, and the second half, once again, it's not just Valverde. It's literally the whole team. The whole team in the second half did not show up. But then on top of that, Atletico Madrid were just ferocious throughout the whole game. From the beginning of the match to the end of the match, Atletico Madrid were just on it. You know, they were dogged. You know, and they weren't letting us have time on the ball, right? So yeah, it now becomes a question that should we actually bench Valverde for some games, right? So a lot of people were talking about, okay, Vini was benched and then Rodrigo came on against the game in the Champions League against Marseille. Is it time maybe now for Valverde to be benched? And then maybe, for example, you try Tchouaméni, Bellingham, and Güler in those positions, right? Because he had a poor game, and yeah, this game and the last game, yeah, defensively he's been better, but for me, I want more from Valverde. And sometimes I don't understand why we're not getting more from Valverde. I don't know if it's from instructions from before Ancelotti and then now with Alonso that you have to stay back, because in terms of attacking threat, he hasn't offered us anything, you know. So I don't know why Valverde is not making those runs forward. And I don't know why we're not capitalizing on his long shot ability, on his progressive runs. You know, we're not seeing that from Valverde anymore. And why? Why is that? Is he being told to stay and to be that anchor to cover for our players that are going forward? I feel it's a waste if we have Valverde playing like that, because he really is a box-to-box midfielder, and we need to play him like that, right? And with now Bellingham coming back into the fold, this 4-4-2, so far, I don't think it works. I don't think it works this season and last season. We had a last season where we were playing players out of position, you know, trying to accommodate everybody. You know, Valverde out of position, Bellingham out of position, Camavinga when he was playing out of position. So this 4-4-2, yeah, of course, in some games it can work, right? Because we tried it in the previous games, but it depends on the personnel you have, right? So I think it was against Espanyol we played the 4-4-2, and we had Mbappe and Gonzalo Garcia up front, right? If I'm not mistaken. And then you had Vini, and then you had Masanto Ono on the right flanks, right? So we still had that width. But now in this game, we have Bellingham on the left, and then we have Arda Güler on the right. And they're just not offering us anything in those positions, right? We have two attacking midfielders who are best in attacking midfielder positions, or Bellingham who can play in that attacking midfielder position, or a box-to-box midfielder, right? So choices have to be made. People have to be dropped. You know, so it's a long season, so there is definitely room for us to make these rotations that we've been seeing in these past games, right? So I think that would be actually quite interesting to see how that partnership could work of Tchouaméni, Bellingham, Güler, and then the link-up play between Güler and Mbappe, and Mbappe and Bellingham, things like that, right? To see how we can work in this 4-3-3, right? Because one of the things that has been good this season has been how Alonso has brought balance to the front line, right? Last season we had Rodrigo, Mbappe, and Vini. It didn't work, right? It clearly did not work. He tried it in the first game in the Club World Cup, and then since then he hasn't tried it again. So he clearly understands that forward line, those front three, it doesn't work. And then now we have Masanto Ono. Masanto Ono, he's playing good. He's raw. He's talented. He's learning every single week. When he came on today, he played he played quite poor. He won us some free kicks, but unfortunately, then when he was taking the free kicks, like it was absolutely terrible. You know, some really great bad free kicks. But now he brought balance in the front line by having Mbappe, Vini, and then now Masanto, right? So now there's more balance, right? And then now we need to find that balance in midfield, because today we did not have it. We didn't have a midfield. You know, Tchouaméni I thought had a poor game as well, whether it was in central midfield or if it was a center back. I thought he had a poor game. So how that's going to unfold is going to be very interesting. The next game is going to be interesting in terms of like what Alonso does. Do we play the same system that we played today against Atletico Madrid, or do we go back to our 4-3-3? I would personally like to go back to our 4-3-3, but yeah, we'll see what Alonso does and what's best for the team. But it's really going to be interesting to see now. Okay, Camavinga is back fit, healthy, and able to play. Bellingham is now fit, healthy, able to play. Our midfielders are fit and healthy. So now, what is our best three? What is our best three? We're not gonna don't be having midfielders in the wide positions. It hasn't worked for us yet, right? And yeah, so if this means that maybe Valverde needs to be benched for a couple of games, you know, just for him to, to get back, to center himself, to reflect, and then to come back, you know, because we need the best of Valverde, right? Or maybe it really is, because for example, when who was it? When Alonso made the substitutions, Camavinga and Masanto coming on, and then I think it was Goulet off, and then I thought he was going to play Valverde as a right back, but he didn't. He put Tchouaméni back. I was like, okay, interesting. So yeah, he is really avoiding playing Valverde as a right back, and I think, yeah, we all are kind of tired of seeing Valverde as a right back. But this season so far, he has been given that opportunity to play in midfield, and he hasn't really been doing much. So we'll see how things turn out. But at the same point, as for example, some people don't want to see, including myself, don't want to see Valverde in that right back position. I also don't want to see Tchouaméni as a center back, because when we don't have Tchouaméni, we do lose a lot in terms of our defensive capacity in the midfield position. He had a poor game today, but I still feel that really Tchouaméni needs to be in central midfield. When he drops back, we lose something. We lose his intensity, right? Maybe it will change with Camavinga coming back, and then he can help out in that position. So that maybe there will be games, of course, we need to rest Tchouaméni, or we need to change tactics and everything, like this game. So it's understandable, but yeah, I just never like seeing Tchouaméni as a center back, to be honest. And I do hope that Militao is okay. We had a few scares with Militao at the start of the game, and then also with Carvajal as well. So hopefully, yeah, Militao came off at halftime, so hopefully he's okay, and yeah, he's available for the next game. You know, I don't want to see Militao out at all this season, right? I want to stay fit, healthy, and to get the best center defender in the world back up and running, you know? He started this season off very well, and let's continue that, right? So we'll see how that turns out. And then now the last thing is going to be Vinicius Jr. Last game, everybody was waxing lyrical about Vini, and yeah, he got the goal and the assist, and yeah, it was a beautiful goal, and it was a good assist, and people were saying like Vini's back, and I am one of Vini's biggest fans. When he first came to Real Madrid, and yeah, he couldn't kick a ball to save his life, he couldn't cross, he couldn't shoot, he couldn't do anything, but he progressed, he learned over time, and to become one of the best players in the world, right? But I think in this game, I think this was probably the game now where I am pretty much done with Vini. You know, I'm just done with Vini, because the lack of quality that we are seeing in the year of 2025 is just costing us. Is costing us games. And it's just not great to see because it really is like just a lack of quality. The decision making, the final ball, yeah, it's just not good enough at this level, right? So when Rodrigo came on, I actually think he played quite well. The only problem when Rodrigo came on was that formation wise, I think we were all over the place. I mean, Mbappe, I have no idea what he was doing. He wasn't in the box. He wasn't making runs. He was quite rigid. So Rodrigo had the ball, and there was no one to pass it to in the box. There was nobody bombing forward. We didn't have an Mbappe there. We didn't have a Goulet there. We didn't have a Bellingham there. Nobody was making the runs forward. So you have the ball in the wing, and there's no one to pass him to. So it was just like, just ridiculous, right? So I think now I would like to see Rodrigo in the next game, and I would like to see I think in midfield, yeah, going back to a 4-3-3, you bench Vini, you put Rodrigo in, and then you bench Valverde and you put Bellingham in. So we go with Mbappe up front with Rodrigo and Mastantuono, midfield Tchouaméni and Bellingham and Goulet, and then at the back Militao. I don't know if he's going to be available. You probably still want to rest him for that game. So then you have Hausen, Asensio, and then maybe Carvajal if he's okay to play, and then Carreras. So I would like to try that out and see how that goes, because Vinicius, I think in terms of quality, man, it's just not good enough. It's not good enough. Not for any top team. It's just not good enough, man. The final ball, the passing he gives to his players, and just trying to pass to his players, and then it doesn't even get to the player. The quality of the final ball is just poor. Decision making is poor, and it's just costing us chances, and it's costing us goals as well, because we're not scoring the goals, but then also because he keeps on losing the ball, then now we're on the back foot again, right? So man, this game this game. But yeah, all credit to Atletico Madrid and to Simeone as well. I think they managed this game very, very well. I think Simeone won the tactical battle against Alonso, and then the players won their duels against Real Madrid. So they were the deserved winners, and I wasn't expecting this. I didn't think Atletico Madrid would be a threat as they were against us today. So maybe that's gonna help them with their title ambitions this year, but we'll see. But I think now this also shows the vulnerability that Madrid have with crosses, with balls over the top, and with a lack of cohesiveness in the midfield. So when we come up against big teams, we really are going to struggle, you know. So if Atletico Madrid are able to beat us 5-2, man, then